And then at the secondary school, I saw that the things in Cyprus and in schools, especially, did not work and does not work as good as we wanted to work. And I started to engaging more and to trying to find and promote solutions. I saw that lots of people in the bureaucracy did not want the solutions to happen, but I also saw young people who wanted these solutions to become true and their life to change. So I started this problem are still unsolved, despite all the efforts we've made, and and also lots of other kind of issues and matters that we had to see, and yes, and something like that. Then I was starting to engage more and more and more and more, trying to make more changes, trying to bring more people into this into all this, and I believe that's only the beginning.
Efivos podcast, where we explore pressing issues and amplifying the voices of youth. I am your host, Andreas Patsalidis, and this podcast is recorded under the framework of the Efivos project. Efivos in Europe aims to provide the youth with journalist skills to enhance the engagement and active participation of young people in the democratic and civic life of the European Union. Today, we are honored to have Christos, a young person who is actively making a difference in the socio-political environment of Cyprus. Christos has been a youth member of the European Parliament, a youth advisor to the Commissioner for the Rights of Children, and a Euroscholar. Christos.
Thank you very much, Andreas, for the invitation. Hello, everyone. Yes, I am actively participating in the political and social life of Cyprus and Europe. I was, as you said, a member of the European Parliament with the Euroscholar program, youth member of the European Parliament. And I went to Strasbourg to a plenary youth session last February. And also I was an advisor to the Children's Rights Protection Commissioner and to the corresponding body of the Council of Europe. For that and a lot of else. I was a representative of Cyprus to the European Economic and Social Committee, youth representative to the youth plenary, only youth, not the direct representative, youth representative. And I also have a TikTok account in English and in Greek where I'm posting about social and political issues, promoting solutions and try to make a difference in the political life, in the decision-making process, and in the life quality of each of us European citizens. Yes.
I was saying that you have been making significant impact on the topics that are really close to your beliefs. My question to that is, even though you have made such a significant progress in terms of growing your following, do you feel that your voice is being dismissed? And now I'm calling you to be the representative for the whole youth. I know it's a difficult thing to do, but we often say that youth should participate. It would be good if youth has done it. Do you feel that you have those opportunities, or do you feel that you're kind of being dismissed?
So that's a great question. I want to believe that I have made a significant change in the youth participation, and of course the youth will say if that's true or not. And I want to say that in Cyprus and in Europe in general, young people are not that much hurt and that much being taken seriously as it has to be, because it's all about our future and all about what will happen to our life. And as a very smart person once said, we're borrowing the future from our children. So So we have to make the changes and be part of the decision making process. Unfortunately, as I said before, for example, for the issues of the air conditioners in schools and shorts 4 years, and that's only me and some other people who supports me. Other issues such as, for example, the paying practical this after university you have to go to work and it's unpaid, the internships, yes, and all the other stuff. But I believe that have the participation has to come directly from each young person, and also there can be representatives
Yeah,
of young people. As you said, I'm now talking like it's an honor, for example, to
yeah,
talking from all the youth, and it's also a huge responsibility,
yeah.
and not everyone can take this responsibility, and young people have some persons who will represent them, and will able to fight for their rights. But I believe that it's not only about like youth participation, it's about the life now, because youth is the
Mhm.
part of the
Yeah.
present life and the life in the future. So we have to see both of that.
I think you mentioned something really important, which is that it has to stem from within each person. It's individual responsibility. To that question, I would follow up. Do you think that that responsibility is not so prevalent in each young person's lives because they have been dissuaded from that, or is it about them not wanting to actively participate um, in the social groups?
It depends from the topic, and it depends from the impact that they can make.
Yeah.
For if the topic it's interesting, young people are happy to participate, to help, and personally, I have received lots of messages from young people who are asking me how they can help or how can they be
Mhm.
part of this whole that we are trying to do. So I believe that with more efforts and more opportunities and
Mhm.
different mentality from the government and from the decision makers, youth can be more engaged. And also, if the youth will see that their actions are resulting actual changes, the participation will be increased a lot. But also now we have to pass to the youth that without any action, there will be no change,
Yeah.
because unfortunately lots of people who has to make decisions and has to make the changes are not interested in that changes as much as we the young people are.
Mhm.
So an independent participation, sorry, of each individual, uh, and I want now to say something about like youth organizations.
Yeah.
Their commitment to the participation of young people are huge, and we are recognizing it. But we can't say that participation democracy works only at the base of organizations
Yeah.
and NGOs, because the European Union right now, and I'm very sad to say that, are not promoting the participation to each citizen and are not welcoming each citizen, not only young people, to participate, but are telling that they are hearing people, while they're hearing some organized groups of people, some NGOs, and that's not fair, and that's not helping actual democracy. For example, the European Economic and Social Committee Youth Test is based only on participation of NGOs from each country, and an individual like me and like a lot of others
They do
individuals,
not have that
we
access
don't have the
necessarily.
opportunity to the youth
Yeah.
test, the access to the youth test, but it will implement the decisions. So how can we guarantee the actual democracy when we don't have these kind of activities which will first of all engage youth, second of all secondly gave them the opportunity to participate, and thirdly show them that their participation are making actual change. And also, if you want my comment, these all are starting from the education systems around the European Union. And for example, in Cyprus, here the education system is not democratic, and of course, it's not promoting any kind of participation and engagement.
So it's not just about them. There needs to be a change at the root so they can have those opportunities to access that. And the,
Yes.
and the school system and the opportunities that they give, or the lack thereof.
Yes, and the participation, if there is any kind of participation in Cypriot schools, it's in a very closed,
Box.
box. Yes, yes, yes. And but I'm saying that each young person can make the difference if he, she, by their own, will decide for themselves that they will be part of change and part of the solution and not part of the problem, because not engaging and not no participation makes you be part of the problem.
Yeah. So even if they have been suppressed, they should feel the motivation that what they're doing can actually make a difference. That's so great to hear that it's the glass is half full than half empty
Yes.
about on what they can do. Now, I would like to shift the attention back to the topic. Now, you again as a young person, could you please provide us with your perspective on the results of this year's election at the national and European levels, or if there have been any surprises that you observe?
Yes, yes. So at the national level, I believe the big surprise, it's an independent candidate who won the elections as a MEP who received the larger amount of votes comparing to other MEP candidates.
Yeah.
And he was a YouTuber, an influencer back then, and lots of people support him because they think that they can show to the system, to the classical system of political parties in Cyprus, that they don't want to deal with it anymore, and they tried to show the difference to that system. So it's a very huge. It's the first time, I believe, when an independent candidate has been elected to the European Parliament from Cyprus, and also for the Cypriot tradition of political parties and the difficult system which are not allowing the independent candidates to run. It's it's a huge difference since other elections and since other election procedures. But we can say that Fidias will be judged from his actions as now politician and elected MEP, as every other politician and elected politician are judged by his actions and by what he will do in his political career as a member of the European Parliament. He has the people's the people's the people gave to him the right to represent them. 7,000 people, sorry, 70,000 people gave him the right to represent them to the European Parliament, and I am very curious to see what will happen next. It's a fact that in Cyprus we are living in a new political reality.
Yeah.
So, and also new parties which ran at the elections, here get some of them get and progressive parties get votes from people. Although, for example, the Volt gets they got large amounts of votes from the people comparing to their age. They're only 6 or 8 months. So that's also a criteria of which we can see the change of the political theater and situation in Cyprus. In the whole Europe, the election results and by the way, commenting the previous one, a year from today, not especially from today, a year from the presidential elections back then in Cyprus, 2023. I was asked in a panel if TikTok can elect a president. And I say to them, yes, of course, it can elect a president or a politician in generally. And now we see that now in 1 year, it did.
It can make a difference. Yeah.
Social media elected, and not only in Cyprus and also in other countries, as I read the news. So yeah, a different political reality is now taking its place in whole Europe, and also on the European level, the results of the elections was predictable.
Yeah.
Some people thought that it will be more far right orientated, but it was not the same, but in generally not much of difference between the previous one.
So I think you mentioned something really important that I want to go back to. You mentioned that Fidias. For those that don't know, Fidias is the newly European elected European elected member of the parliament.
Deputy.
Excuse me?
Deputy.
Yeah. You mentioned that he will be judged by the actions. In your opinion, to what extent do you think that this is true? In the sense of, have the people voted him actually expecting to make a difference? Was this just a vote to demonstrate that people are not happy with the current political affairs and the state of affairs? And do you think that if people do expect him to make difference, will they be satisfied, or will they be disappointed with the actual impact that he will make?
So it is a fact that people are not good with the present political system.
Yeah.
And that if a vote to a person who did not represent that system and represents the opposite.
Yeah.
And of course, people are believing right now that it will make change. And I believe that it already make change, as I said before, in the political theater of Cyprus and Europe, of course. And we'll see more changes in general.
Or we say the musical chairs. It's just a rotation depending on different timing. Now, it actually makes change because it puts everyone on their feet.
Of course, and young people who was not engaged at all at the political life in the political life of Cyprus now are watching the journey of Fidias and then maybe will be more engaged and will demand changes, because the engagement is demanding of changes and the increasing of the quality of life of each person.
No, everyone, you could say, is watching very carefully. I wouldn't call this an experiment because to an extent it has already made a big difference in the sense of more people being engaged.
But
now,
every politician will be judged by its actions, and the actions of an MEP is countable. So we will see. We can't make like predictions or something like that based on, but we will see the actions of each MEP is countable, and each MEP has the possibility. Fidias also, of course, has the possibility to make a change in his area of responsibility. Yeah.
And I would say that Phileas, in comparison to what we have seen, is a very, very young person. Now, I'm going to differentiate, obviously, because you have, I believe, with the work that you have done, shown that you have extensive knowledge on the political field. So I'm not going to put you in the same basket. But what I would like you to do with your expertise as a young person, do you feel that with the platform that you have, can you make a difference? And can you, as a young person, without the platform, still make a difference?
So the platform that I have, it's a great helper in times of making a difference.
Which
And
may I add, you have built and you have grown
yes,
to,
but
and it's
yeah, that's what I was going to say. I have built it and I've grown it, and of course with the help of people whom support me. And yes, we can make the difference. But a single young person, as I said, a single young person can make a difference in his personal area of responsibility, and not only by voting, but by supporting people which and who he or she thinks represents them better, by uh, by making by making interventions, maybe on the social media, maybe somewhere else, by participating in events and all of that, and by demanding from the politicians to do their job their job and uh, and be responsible. So I, of course, believe that it's much more difficult for a single young person to make a difference comparing to a person who has a large platform. Although I don't believe my platform is very huge, it's about 10K followers and okay, 12K followers from
and everyone should go follow.
thank you, thank you. And but the amount of views that we're taking are very high, hundreds of thousands of views, and in general millions of views from the videos. But yes, and we are making lots of changes, and people are calling me and telling their problems, their issues. For example, we had in Cyprus the Pan-Cyprian examination and this thing with the mathematics test, the maths exam, which was not good, and they call me and tell me what they feel about it. People who write maths, and then I made a TV intervention and talked about that and represent the students, and I believe I include everything that they said to me, and had a view of the situation. So every person can help and must help in the way, in its own way, by supporting, by reposting, by making statements, by making posts, by attending events, by going to vote, and more.
Yeah, and I have to commend you that the fact that even though that sometimes you have a lot to lose, let's say, by putting a target on your back, depending on the issue that you have to speak about, you have never not spoke true about what represents you, and that speaks volumes, I think, to your character. And to that, I would like to focus back on maybe to the people that do put a target on you, which are the more mainstream political parties, I think. In your opinion, do you think those parties who often change their narratives based on populist opinions are going to change, or will they just do whatever it takes in order to secure the constituency for them to maintain that power?
You mean they are targeting me for my views and point
No,
of
not
view?
necessarily. Yeah, I'm saying that you are making a difference. You are representing people, and I think you do it in a manner in which speaks true to who you are as a person. I'm asking about what do you think about the parties that don't necessarily represent with the best intentions, but do that depending on what the political landscape is and where they can seek opportunities to do that. For example, we have more, let's say, populist opinions. after the migration problem has become more prevalent, and therefore we have seen racist speech become more mainstream as not necessarily an ideology, but underlying values.
Yes. History has shown us that that when that kind of parties are going to take the rule, the situation is not changing to its best, but to its worst. So history shown us and proved to us that uh, we shall not giving our support to this kind of political movements and associations. And I want to say that yes, we and I personally am trying to propose and promote solutions that which are based on actual situation, no, and far away from the populistic narratives which can be promoted. And unfortunately, that kind of narratives has been grown grown in young people, in the minds of young people, some young people, not everyone, but some young people, and in the minds of people older aged people. And these kind of narratives are not good for the democracy, and also are not ruling us to any kind of solution to the problems which every person has daily. You mentioned, for example, migration. We've seen lots of challenges facing our country, and migration is one of the top priorities of citizens.
Yeah.
And
And the broader Europe.
that's Europe, yes. That's not wrong, because the Roman Empire has collapsed because of migration also, not only, but also because of migration. But we can see that Roman Empire collapsed not only because of migration, but because of bad ruling. So this problem should be solved and can be solved, but not in a way that populist parties promote. And we are not hearing an actual solution from almost anyone. So, but only like speeches and words said online or on events or something, or on demonstrations or on something like that. And in Cyprus and in Eastern countries, we have the tradition to rate politicians based on the words that they are saying. I believe that we have to rate politicians based on the actions that they have been made.
Yeah.
Have made.
I think what you're saying it makes perfect sense. It's just I think we have a very short memory in the sense of what is the more trendy thing, who is going to virtue signal the more and therefore get the more attention. Therefore, we speculate that, oh,
And
maybe.
also, some people, and that's a responsibility of the education area, have no clue of how participation democracy and democracy works, how our institution works, and did not have an image of the situation in Cyprus now and in the situation in Cyprus in the past. And that's also because the lesson of history is not taught as good as we want in the Cypriot schools, beginning from the primary school. And these people are that people are very easy to affect. These kind of people, it is very easy to affect this kind of people to any of like that propagandistic slogans.
Yeah.
And also, in Europe, these kind of movements, political movements, may be financed from authoritarian countries outside European Union, dictatorships outside European Union, which of course do not want our union and our countries to succeed. And yes, but also European Union and each member state can make movements to stop that kind of political activity, not by forcing it, but by proven by actions, proven by actions that we can propose something better.
Uh, I think you said exactly what is in most people's minds, that sometimes underlying political interests do play a big factor, even if maybe what people say in the context of the political landscape actually mean that their actions speak louder than the voices. So with coming to the end of this episode, I think you mentioned some ways in which young people can be encouraged to become more
Can I
involved in
make
the
a
political
comment
process.
on the previous topic? Because
Yeah.
I'm a very huge defender, and I believe in democracy and that people have to
Yes.
decide their fate by their own. So any result and any decision of the people, of the citizens of the European Union, which are made by in a mind and in a way which is an independent way, and are not and the citizens are not forced to do that
Mm-hmm.
by propaganda, by violence, or by something else, are respect has my respect, and I believe has the respect of every politician and of every European institution. So if people are voting for the candidate A or the candidate B, we have to respect these choices of the people. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah. No, I completely agree with you, and it was important to be said. Now, closing with a positive or a negative, you are going uh, to what extent do you think that it's possible moving forward to have more engagement from the youth in the context of in their participation of national and EU levels? I think in some of your work you have mentioned lowering the voting age. Do you think any other ways in which young people can be incentivized or give them more access to participate?
Yes, of course. As you mentioned, have been promoting the lowering of the voting age. That's very important, and also not only that, but creating groups of young persons that will advising, for example, the European institutions are also very important, and creating a European Youth Parliament, which is not as I was a member, like a program Euroscola, which is not very engaging, and we have not a meaningful aspect of that. And I'm sorry, I have a phone call, but I will close it. So and also, as I said before, the participation of each individual is very important. And we have the European Union and the member states have not to be focused only on engaging some youth organizations or any kind of organizations, but and political parties, but independent young people with their own opinions and their own minds. And the decision making has to be youth orientated. So we have to say that our decisions, which will impact the life for next 20 years, 30 years, 50 years, will impact it in a way which young generation will not pay for
Mhm.
it then. So lowering the voting age, lowering the age to be elected as
Yeah.
MP, MEP, and creating advisory committees
Mhm.
to the large and huge institutions, not
Yeah.
and also creating groups of young people which will be engaged in their own society and many else can help the young people to participate. And also digital and
Mhm.
the government will have to see that proposal or will have to implement that proposal if and a number of signatures has been reached. And also the digital participation includes access, and digital governance includes access to state services online,
Mhm.
which can lower the number of time every citizen can wait for their their action being made, and that's important, and that have to do with the participation. Because if I am a young person and I want to open a business and I want to make something with the government, and I have the possibility to do that easily and faster, then I will have the money, the time, and the willing to participate in politics and in social life of my country, to create and to support that kind of environment, so that the country created. So the digitalization of all the sector of governance, and at the same time to turn the European Union and the governments more to the youth, to make them more youth oriented, with the ways I said before, and lots of other ways which I'm promoting, and not only me, lots of young people across the European Union, across my country, can engage more youth.
Yeah, I think what you described makes perfect sense. But I don't know, being more skeptical of the current situation, I don't think we have the infrastructure ready in which would give that what it would be a great way to participate.
You mean for the lowering of the voting age, or for
No, I mean the technological aspect.
Okay. We have to begin from
Yes,
something.
of course.
Last year we have the scandal with the servers of the state becoming underwater servers, and yes, and all the state websites was not. We lost access to all the government state websites for 3 days, I believe.
Yeah.
And or one, I don't remember. And from this, we are now coming and saying that we have to implement the digital democracy. And it may sounds difficult, but we have to start. In Ukraine, for example, when 2019 President Zelensky has been elected, he announced the creation of DIA. It's a platform of digital governance. It is a digital governance platform, and it has succeeded. And the number of corruption for that kind of processes, which this platform can do, instead of going to a state institution and asking something, and state service, for example, the time and the corruption has been and now is going down. So we can, and in Estonia, for example, which is a member state of the European Union, they also implemented that kind of stuff, and it's working. So we can implement it too, and not fighting technology as the Cypriot Ministry of Education are now doing, taking the phones away from students.
Yeah, of course. I think what you said is really important. And with this, I would like to thank everyone for tuning in, and thank you for being able to voice all those important messages that need to be.
Very much for the invitation, for the good words, and thank you to the people who listened to us and did not get bored of my speeches.
No, I think it's really important, and especially when we have young people like you representing in an absolute great manner their peers. With this, I would like to welcome everyone to tune in to our next podcast, which we're going to talk about climate change and how young people can improve the situations in the context of environment. Thank you, everyone.
Bye-bye.